You did not fail this morning. You surrendered, and you called it resting. Somewhere in your body there is an alarm clock, and there is also a hand that reaches out in the dark to silence it without ever opening its eyes. That hand is not tired. That hand is trained. Every morning it wins, and every morning you lose a little more ground. You will spend the rest of the day trying to pretend you didn't lose. You call it laziness. It has a better name. It is comfort. Wearing your face. Holding a leash you agreed to wear so long ago you forgot it was ever put on. Machiavelli wrote that never was anything great achieved without danger. Read that again. Slowly. Danger. Not motivation, not inspiration. Danger. The one thing comfort promises to protect you from, and the one thing you actually need. The gym membership you paid for and used twice was not a failure of willpower. It was a successful negotiation with comfort, and comfort won every round. Here is what separates the ones who rule their hours from the ones who are ruled by them. It is not talent. It is not luck. It is not even discipline, not the way you think of it. Gritted teeth, cold showers, motivational quotes taped to a mirror that stopped working in February. It is a single, quiet move. The kind of move a king makes before anyone in the room realizes a decision has already been executed. I am going to give you that move, but you are not ready for it yet. First, you need to see exactly what you are and exactly what has been feeding on your mornings while you called it rest. 4 phases. No motivation, just the architecture of a king, rebuilt from the ground up, starting with the truth you have been avoiding. Phase 1. The diagnosis of the slave. You are not lazy. Lazy is a word invented by people who need a simple explanation for something that is actually very precise. What you have is not a deficiency. It is a working system. And it is working exactly as designed. Just not for you. Here's what the broke never see about themselves. And by broke, I don't mean your bank account. I mean broke in time. Broke in mornings. Broke in the version of yourself you keep promising to become next month. The system you're running was not built to make you great. It was built to make you comfortable. And comfort has one job: keep you exactly where you are. Think of the alarm, not the sound, the moment right after it. That half second where your hand moves faster than your mind, that is not weakness. That is training. You have trained that hand for years to choose the leash over the day. This is not tiredness. This is not burnout. This is not a phase. This is a habit of surrender, repeated so many times it now feels like your personality. Picture the gym membership, paid in full, January, full of intention. Used twice. Not because you didn't want the results, because comfort renegotiated the terms every single day. And you kept signing. Picture the goal you announced at a dinner table, the one everyone nodded at, the one that quietly died sometime around week 2, alone, with no witnesses. Because dying quietly is the only way comfort lets you fail. No confrontation, no consequence, just a slow fade nobody has to talk about. Picture the coworker with 20 years at the same desk. He still negotiates with the snooze button every morning. The same negotiation he lost yesterday and the day before and every day for 2 decades. He is not stupid. He is not weak. He simply never noticed that the negotiation itself was the trap. And now, the negotiation has become his whole career. You are not the exception. You are the pattern. And the pattern has a name history has used for 3,000 years. The slave who mistakes his cage for his home, because the cage is warm and the door was never locked, only never opened. But it gets worse, because the cage isn't just comfortable, it's flattering. It tells you that resting today protects tomorrow. It tells you the discipline will come once you feel ready. It tells you this so gently, so reasonably, that you never notice you have been hearing the same sentence for years, and you are still waiting to feel ready. A king does not wait to feel ready. A king was never asked how he felt. He was asked what he would do, and then he did it, because a throne does not wait for a mood to pass. You have been ruled by a mood for years. Today, that arrangement ends, not because you suddenly feel strong, but because feeling was never the qualification. Execution was. Phase 2, the architecture of the throne. Here's the part they never teach you. Motivation was never the plan. Motivation is weather. Some days it rains, some days the sky is clear, and you do not build a kingdom around whether it happens to be sunny. You build walls. You build gates. You build a structure that runs whether you feel like ruling that day or not. You do not need more motivation. You need a rule. You do not need more time. You need a wall around it. You do not need a better mood. You need a system that has never once asked your mood for permission. Picture two men in the same court. One is the courtier, brilliant, capable, always waiting for the right moment, the right mood, the right sign before he acts. He tells himself he is being wise. He is being owned. The other is the king. He does not wait for the room to tell him what to do. He decides what the room will do, and then he moves. And everyone else spends the day reacting to a decision he made alone, in silence, before the sun was even up. There is another way to see this. Picture the herd, grazing wherever the ground happens to be soft, moving only when something forces it to move. And picture the hunter, who does not wait for hunger to force his hand. He has already decided where he will be at dawn, long before dawn asks him anything. The herd reacts. The hunter rules the timing. That is the entire difference, and it has nothing to do with strength. You have spent your whole life as the courtier of your own morning, waiting for a feeling that was never going to arrive on schedule. The king does not wait. The king rules the hour before the hour has a chance to rule him. Here is what the wall actually looks like, in practice, stripped of anything poetic. The same wake time on Saturday as on Tuesday. The same first task, regardless of how the night before went. No renegotiation, no exceptions carved out for a bad mood or a long week. Because the moment you allow one exception, you have not built a wall. You have built a suggestion. And comfort is very good at arguing with suggestions. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events, and that when you realize this, you will find strength. Translate that into the language of your Tuesday morning. You do not have power over how you feel when the alarm rings. You have absolute power over what your hand does next. That is the entire kingdom you are given to rule. Most people never even try to hold it. This is where most people bleed out, not in some dramatic collapse, in 1,000 tiny surrenders, each one small enough to forgive, each one adding up to a life spent governed by whatever mood happened to show up that day. You do not need to fix your mood. You need to make your mood irrelevant. That is what a system is for. A wall is not motivational. A wall does not care how you feel about it. It simply stands every single day in the exact same place until standing there stops being a decision and starts being who you are. Phase 3, the discipline of silence and speed. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Machiavelli wrote that about princes and their courts. It applies just as well to a man scrolling his phone at midnight, calling it winding down. While somewhere else, another man is asleep by 10 because he has already decided what 6 a.m. requires of him. Nobody claps for that decision. Nobody sees it. That is exactly why it works. The lazy man performs busyness. He answers messages instantly, fills his calendar, narrates his effort out loud to anyone who will listen. The king does the opposite. He says almost nothing about what he is building. He lets the results speak. Months later, when it is too late for anyone to claim they saw it coming. Walk down any street at 6 in the morning and you will find one person already moving, not running from anything, not performing for anyone, just moving. Because moving at that hour was decided long before this particular morning arrived. Everyone else on that street is still negotiating with a warm blanket. That one person stopped negotiating years ago, and it shows in everything they've built since. Stay with me, because this is where speed replaces feeling. You have been taught to wait until you feel ready before you act. That is backwards, and it has cost you years. The king does not feel ready. He decides, and then the readiness is manufactured by the decision itself. Feeling ready was never a prerequisite. It was an excuse wearing a more respectable outfit. Here is the archetype: the soft prince and the exiled prince. The soft prince inherits everything and defends nothing. He grows fat on comfort until the day someone stronger simply takes what he never had to fight for. Rome fell this way, slowly, softened by luxury long before a single enemy breached the gate. The fall was decided in the banquet halls, years before it was decided on any battlefield. The exiled prince has nothing, and because he has nothing, every hour is defended like territory, because he knows exactly what it costs to lose it. Softness does not fail loudly. It fails quietly, over years, until the day the throne is simply gone and nobody can point to the exact moment it was lost. This is not about trying harder. This is not about squeezing more hours from a day that is already full. This is not about hustle for its own sake. This is about deciding once who owns your first 60 seconds, and then never relitigating that decision again. If you are still with me, if some part of you is already uncomfortable in the correct way, comment, "I rule my hours," below. Not because I need the comment, because I want to see who is actually serious, and who is going to close this video and go back to negotiating with their alarm clock tomorrow morning like nothing was said here at all. Phase 4. The rain. Now you are ready for the move I promised. Here it is. The one thing the disciplined never say out loud. Mostly because it sounds too small to matter. Discipline is not sustained by willpower. It never was. It is sustained by making the first 60 seconds of any action automatic. So your mind never gets a vote. That is the entire secret. Not a mindset, not a morning routine with 14 steps. One decision, made once, about what your hand does in the first 60 seconds after the alarm, before your feelings wake up enough to object. The feet on the floor, the water on the face, the shoes already by the door. You are not relying on strength at 5:40 in the morning. You removed the vote. You removed the negotiation. There is nothing left to talk yourself out of, because talking was never invited to that meeting. This is the part almost nobody survives past day 3. Not because they lack willpower, but because they keep asking permission from a version of themselves that was never going to say yes. The king stopped asking permission a long time ago. That is the entire difference between a ruler and a subject. Not talent, not luck. Permission. Somewhere out there is a version of you 30 years from now, in a chair, thinking about the Monday it was supposed to start on. Not this year's Monday, every year's Monday. 30 of them, stacked up quietly, each one indistinguishable from the last, until the stack itself becomes the whole story. A life spent meaning to begin. There was a moment, somewhere around year 4 or year 11, when it could have gone differently. One ordinary Tuesday when the decision was almost made and then wasn't. And the almost decision got filed away with all the others. Indistinguishable, forgettable, gone. Nobody plans that life. It happens exactly like this. One silenced alarm at a time. One gym membership at a time. One comfortable evening at a time. For 30 years. Until the evenings are all that's left. You do not have 30 years to waste deciding this. You have today. And today is already half spent deciding whether you're serious. The version of you that negotiates with alarm clocks has to die today. Not tomorrow, not after one more comfortable weekend. Today. What replaces him is quieter than you expect. He does not announce himself. He does not need anyone to notice he changed. He simply starts moving at the hour he said he would, and lets the results argue his case months later, when arguing is no longer necessary. There is a deeper layer to this, the kind of silence disciplined people keep once they actually have something worth protecting, the kind of quiet that looks like nothing is happening right up until it's obvious everything already has.
That is a conversation for when you've proven you can hold the first phase. Most people never get there. I want to know if you will. Comment, "I rule my hours," if the lazy version of you is already dead. I want to see who is actually serious enough to still be here. And if you intend to come back tomorrow and the day after and prove it, not just today, subscribe, not as a favor to me, but as your own oath to yourself, one you can be held to. Here is who you are on the other side of this, if you actually do it. Calm, a little dangerous. Early. Moving through a morning that used to negotiate with you, except now there is nothing left to negotiate, because the decision was made once and never reopened. You watch the people around you still debating with their alarm clocks, still waiting to feel ready, and you feel no need to explain yourself to them. You simply keep moving. There is a price. Nobody tells you the price at the start because nobody would pay it if they knew in advance. The price is boredom. The same wall, the same hour, the same first 60 seconds, repeated so many times it stops feeling like an achievement and starts feeling like breathing. The price is a kind of isolation, because the comfortable version of the people around you will not always understand why you left the warm room. The price is killing the version of yourself who needed permission, who needed the mood to be right, who needed one more Monday, and that version does not go quietly. He argues, he negotiates, he shows up at 11 p.m. with the phone already in his hand. You bury him anyway. The broke version of you has to die today. Not the version with no money, the version with no discipline. The one who mistook comfort for peace and called surrender self-care every single morning for years. That version dies the first time your feet hit the floor before your mind gets a vote. What comes after is not for everyone, and I am not going to pretend it is. There is a deeper level to this, the discipline of what you protect once you actually have something worth protecting. The specific kind of silence a king keeps that a courtier never learns, because a courtier never had anything valuable enough to guard. That is a conversation for people who have already proven they can win the first 60 seconds. If that is you, you already know it. If it isn't yet, it will be soon. Comment, "I rule my hours," if the lazy version of you is already dead, and I want to see it. Not tomorrow's promise, today's proof. And if you intend to still be here in a year, still ruling the same hour, still holding the same wall, subscribe. Not for me, as your own oath, the kind a king makes to no one but himself, and keeps anyway.